Today we're reacting to Zorak, Super Robots, and Real Robots. What's the difference? Yeah, what is the difference? I want to know. I really do want to know the difference. Let's check it out. This was submitted by a viewer. Shout out to ASMR Pong. He had submitted 4K censorship, and shout out to him, ASMR Pong. Great guy. Um, let you know, I love the 4K video. That's probably gonna be one of my favorites. I hope it's one of y'all's favorites too.
There's a whole lot of variety to what falls under the umbrella of mecha anime. You've got realistic
Any mecha fans out there? Any mecha anime fans out there? Me personally, I like Gurren Lagann, Neon Genesis, Evangelion, and Gundam. Those are like the my favorite mechas.
dramas, high fantasy adventures, detective serials, monster of the week smash 'em ups, tits and ass fan service bait, and a whole lot else besides. It turns out there's a lot that can be done with the basic concept of big robots who fight. But
Oh, and Big O. Guys, remember Big O on Adult Swim? Yeah, Big O.
discussing what makes these anime similar, and what makes them different, is made more challenging by the terminology we tend to use. Anytime you have a media genre with a lot of
Oh, I forgot about Code Geass. Oh yeah, Code Geass. I like Code Geass too.
variation within it, fans and creators will attempt to come up with subgenres to further break it up. Humans love taxonomy, especially when it comes to things that don't really matter. But placing stuff into buckets makes it easier to talk about how a genre evolves, outline how things relate to each other, more easily make and receive recommendations, and in general, help one avoid things that we may dislike. For mecha, there are really only two such buckets: super robots and real robots. Both terms are highly nebulous, which has a lot to do with why I'm making this video in the first place. I'm going to do my best to describe them in the terms most commonly used.
I'll say this: it gives me like Toko, it kind of reminds me of Toko, like a Tokusatsu series, like a Kamen Rider, Ultraman, Super Sentai. In that realm, this, and I'll say this: I do want to make videos like this in the future. I do want to do research and make videos like this in the future. Um, right now, I'm in the process of getting all my reaction videos out the way so that I can learn how to make videos like this. Would you guys like to see me do videos like this? Like me do video commentary essay videos? That's like the goal I have on my channel, is to eventually one day start making videos like this. I generally do. Like I want you guys to see the creative process that comes from me when I start making videos like this. But let's continue.
Good versus evil. Real Robot series, on the other hand, are mecha series with more scientific settings and rules. Real Robot series are typically more grounded, with a greater focus on individual drama and the war between competing factions. Real robots are typically weapons of war, often mass-produced, the human-shaped equivalent of a tank or fighter jet. The prototypical Real Robot series is, of course, Mobile Suit Gundam. In Mobile Suit Gundam, the eponymous Gundam is a prototype machine created by scientists, ultimately for mass production. It's used to fight against an enemy army with their own equivalent machines of war, with great focus put on the senselessness of the conflict, as well as the good people on both sides. The Gundam is a relatively more grounded machine. While its science is very hand-wavy, the series goes out of its way to make it clear that it's just a weapon like any other, though a particularly effective one. These holotypes are particularly stark in their example, and they're fairly easy to distinguish. Super robots are more fantasy, real robots are more hard science. Getter Robo is Super Robot. Macross is Real Robot. Gurren Lagann, Super. Votom's Real. And it's not all about tone, either. The Big O plays itself extremely straight, but it's undoubtedly a Super Robot series. Zabungle is extremely goofy, but it without question features real robots. But here's the problem. As with all subgenre definitions, there's a lot of stuff that falls somewhere between the two. making the whole distinction rather challenging. Let me pose to you a few complicated cases, and I'll let you be the judge. Is Space Runaway Ideon a super robot series? The Ideon spends most of the series fighting with largely conventional weaponry against alien aggressors that, it turns out, are basically just rather mean space humans. And the conflict is played out in very gritty details not that different from the original Gundam. Not that surprising, given that it's the thing that Gundam creator Yoshiyuki Tomino created next. At the same time, the Ideon's origins are very much inexplicable and mystical. Its power set eventually becomes cosmic and
I know something.
Created next. At the same time, the Ideon's origins are
You see this? You see this design? It reminds me of like a transformer. Speaking of transformers, I would assume you could put them in the category of mechs. What would they be considered? Would they be considered real robot? Like would transformers be considered real robots? Would you put them in that category, or would they be more super robot? Because this looks like a transformer design.
very much inexplicable and mystical. Its power set eventually becomes cosmic and
Speaking of transformers, is transformers an American idea, or is that like a Japanese idea? I don't really know much about like Transformers history or lore, but it's something to think about.
scale, and the individual drama and war between humanity and the Buff Clan are eventually superseded by the existential angst of judgmental gods. It's grim and dark, and it's certainly not power fantasy, but it's a story one would be really hard-pressed to associate with hard science fiction. Is Aura Battler Dunbean a super robot series? The setting of Dunbean is very much high fantasy, with dragons and knights abound. The Aura Battlers are mystically powered machines, but they're also manufactured weapons and treated not all that different from Gundam's mobile suits. The core conflict is a civil war, not some end-all be-all fight against evil. While there's interdimensional hopping between the mundane world and the high fantasy world, Upper Earth is played very straight. Is the concept of humans possessing mystical auras really that much more fantastical than the space psychics of the original Gundam? Does the fact that Dunbean is another Tomino series matter at all? What about the fairies?
I must somehow make sense of our convoluted situation.
Is Aim for the Top Gunbuster a super robot series? The Gunbuster is a giant super machine piloted by a couple of teams, fighting space monsters that want to kill humanity. The weapons it uses are incredibly fantastical and over the top, and there's a whole heap and helping of yelling attack names while killing millions of aliens at once. The technology involved certainly isn't grounded.
Isn't this the first anime that I think his name's Hideaki Anno? If I'm butchering his name, sorry. You know, the creator of Neon Genesis. Isn't this like his first work before Neon Genesis?
At the same time, the series as a whole has a pretense of outdated, incorrect science. The Gunbuster is mass-produced into the Sizzlers, and by and large, the conflict is treated with a reverence much more in line with hard sci-fi than fantasy. The core power fantasy at its heart certainly makes it feel like a super robot series. The vastly inferior sequel Diebuster even throws away that scientific pretense to go full-on no-question super robot. Does that have any bearing on Gunbuster itself? Is Neon Genesis Evangelion a super robot?
I love this anime. Yo, this anime, I love it. I watched all of it back in high school. Like, I think it was either my sophomore or junior year. I watched this anime, and I watched the movies. I think I only so far. I think I watched the end of Evangelion. I think I watched some of Death and Rebirth. I might have to go back and watch the movies again. I don't think I watched the rebuilds though, but I love this anime. Yeah, I just love it. I just love it. It's one of my favorite mech animes.
Bot series. The Avas are giant space alien human progenitor cousin clones with cockpits stuck in them, used to fight alien human progenitor cousin clones that
I need to make this song my ringtone again. When I first got my new phone, I had this as my ringtone when someone calls me, but I might need to bring it back.
project absolute terror fields that protect them from damage. It's a fight for humanity's survival against an uncaring enemy that wants to drive us to extinction, framed in a very super robot-esque monster of the week structure. The conflict eventually veers into being man against man, but there's a lot of stuff involving ancient alien souls, Judeo-Christian religious imagery, and humanity evolving into a singularity soup going on at the same time. The Avas are immensely tall, unrealistic things.
I believe her name is Ray. Is it Ray supposed to be like Shinji's mom, like a clone of his mom, if I'm not mistaken? Also, she's best girl.
But they wield largely conventional weapons, except for when they don't, and are treated in a grounded, serious fashion, except for when they aren't. Wield largely conventional weapons. Avas are immensely tall, unrealistic things, but they wield largely conventional weapons, except for when they don't, and are treated in a grounded, serious fashion, except for when they aren't. The drama is played very straight, and the series never dalliances with power fantasy, that's to be sure. But, on the other hand, there's a hyper-intelligent penguin living in Shinji's apartment. So, you know. Gundam in particular is interesting in that
G Gundam is one of my favorite Gundams, and Gundam Wing. That's the only ones I seen as a kid that I grew up watching that I'm very fond of. I went like years ago, about like 2017, 2018. I went back and watched all of G Gundam, and I love G Gundam. I think I need to rewatch Gundam Wing again.
depending how you look at the individual series that make up the franchise, it frequently straddles the Super Robot line or outright jumps over it. Mobile Fighter G Gundam, with its robot kung fu, hot-blooded shonen adventures, and menacing evil robot baddie, is obviously a Super Robot series, even if the society at large around them is played relatively straight. Is Gundam 00, with its many bespoke super machines, very nebulously scientifically justified psychic integrated super attacks, an eventual movie headline alien invasion, a Super Robot series? Maybe? Probably not. Does the fact that the Psycho Frame can apparently reverse time make Gundam Unicorn a Super Robot series, even as everything else in it is played to maximum real robot grittiness? I have no idea.
Same here. But I was just thinking maybe I'm gonna do a stream building a Gundam or a Gunpla. Guys will like that. Guys will want to see me build a Gundam or a Gunpla on stream. I I do want to do that and do some Legos. Okay, the Legos has nothing to do with this video, but the Gundam Gunpla does. I do wanna like build a Gundam Gunpla in the future on stream.
I guess where I'm going with this is that the bucket metaphor is kind of daft, when really, genres are more of a spectrum, and ultimately, the genre something belongs to says very little about the quality of the work in it. The vast majority of Super Robot shows are
Half of these series I never watched or heard of. I mean, there's some I did. I mean, I heard of Gunbuster, um, but some of these look like classical mecha animes I never watched. I think one of these days I don't know. I don't know if I want to do a reaction video or I just want to like sit back and watch it on my own time, my personal time of Gunbuster.
hot garbage. The same is true for Real Robot series. The same is true for all anime. As someone who has greatly enjoyed both Real Robot and Super Robot series in his time, it's always amusing to me to hear people speak extremely strongly about one over the other. The fact that people will
Me personally, I like both. I mean, it doesn't really make a difference to me. It might make a difference to other people, but me personally, I mean, I just like giant robots. It doesn't mean at the end of the day, it's just giant robots. So, I mean, if you're a fan of giant robots fighting, you're good in my book. Because that's how I say it. It's just, I never really thought about this because, like, again, a viewer requested this in some instances. Like, I never really thought about, like, oh, super robot, real robot. To me, it's just giant robots fighting. And the story, all that matters is the story and the plot. That's all that matters to me. But I enjoy both, I enjoy both. I just love mecha. I just love mecha. I just love giant robots fighting. No matter again, as long as the story good, the story's good.
say that they love Real Robot series and hate Super Robot series, while also praising Evangelion, a series that at the very least draws an awful lot from Super Robot series of old, not to mention Ultraman. It says a lot about how people value aesthetic purity and thematic grittiness over actual realism, or vice versa, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. And ultimately, I get why the terminology exists. There's something to the fact that, yes, Gundam really did bring something new to mecha. Gundam is very different from Mazinger Z or Getter Robo or Zambot 3. But at the same time, realism is not a binary. The original Gundam is incredibly goofy at times. How hard you like your science fiction is a matter of taste. But you just might find that if you give something out of your comfort zone a chance, that there might be other series and genres that you've never considered that you may greatly enjoy.
True. I mean, that's very true. Sometimes you just gotta give things a chance. You never know what you would like. And that's kind of what I've been doing lately.
I have to admit, in the past, I used to very much look down on shoujo series. But after giving Revolution
Oh man, well, like soju. I like soju. I'll say this. I used to like it was romance for me. Now I like to watch romance animes. Sometimes I like to watch a good romance anime before going to bed. So sometimes you gotta give things a chance. But sojos, I like sojos, even though they're mostly for girls. But I like a good sojo.
Girl Utena try, that ultimately led me to watching Princess Tutu and The Rose of Versailles, and I greatly enjoyed all of those. I guess where I'm going with all this is that Gao Gai Gar's
Though I'm just saying, I don't know. I never watched it, so I don't know if it is or not. Let me know if you guys watch this series before. So what is this about exactly? What's the story behind this series, this anime series? I kind of want to know like what this one's about. It's my first time ever hearing about it. But what does Gao mean exactly? What does the word Gao mean in Japanese? Like, how would you translate that in English? Because I know like Gao Ranger, the Sentai series. So what is, Gao? What does Gao mean? Okay, that was Zorak, Super Robots and Real Robots. What's the difference? I mean, there's a big difference, like, but me, it makes no difference. I like both. I'm not picky when it comes to super robots or real robots. To me, I just like giant robots fighting. I just, like I said, I prefer just giant robots fighting. It has a good story. I'm in it. I'll watch it. As long as the story's good writing, good characters, makes no difference to me. But let me know, are you guys either super robots or real robots fans, or it doesn't make a difference to you? And this is something interesting, something I never thought about and never heard about. It's just like the first. Let me know if you guys are mecha fans. Let me know if you guys enjoy mecha anime. Let me know if you guys want to see me build a Gundam or a Gunpla on stream one day. I I will buy a Gundam or Gunpla and build one on stream one of these days. So yeah. Also Transformers again. What would you classify Transformers? Is that like a super robot or a real robot? I don't know. I want to say super. I want to say super. I want to see Transformers super robot. But let me know in the comments what you think. What would you classify Transformers? Also, Voltron. I think is it Voltron? Is that what it's called? What would you classify that? I think that would be like Super too, right? I want to see that Super as well. But if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Zorak, and I'll see you next time.